talk about 2016. It's the end of the year now, and it's all behind us. There's a lot that happened this year, a lot of good things, a lot of bad things. But can we really say which was really the worst part of it? It's hard to decide just on one person's shoulders. The whole of the world might be able to in retrospect, but can 7 billion people really come to such a unanimous decision? This is really just going to be a lot of rambling. I didn't plan anything out for this. I'm just talking for a while. I'm not sure how long this will be or how long it will end up being. But let's get into this. 2016. The year where memes totally took a downfall. There were a lot of them that were extremely bad. I can't say the same for anything else, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people will agree with me when I say that Harambe, Dat Boy, dabbing, bottle flipping, damn Daniel, fucking anything from Vine was terrible this year. Speaking of Vine, 2016 was the year when Vine was finally brought to a close. Sure, it was a long and arduous experience to be on Vine. Luckily, I never had to deal with the terribleness that website and social media service is. Twitter got rid of it. And because of that, maybe Twitter will do better because they don't have to worry about putting more money into something that they didn't need. If people wanted to upload 6-second videos to something, they still have YouTube. It's still a video platform, and it's been around for who knows how long at this point. And of course, there are creators from Vine who have come to YouTube and started uploading their 6-second videos there, even if they are a little longer now, because they have more time to put into their skits. They can make them better and make them longer and have more of a punchline instead of just, hey, I'm pretending to be a white guy. Hey, now I'm pretending to be a black guy and I said something totally different and racist. It's a lot better now. So, it's a good idea to have finally shut it down. Now, returning to the memes of everything of 2016, there was a lot that was bad. There was a lot that was good. Hell, the things that came out this year have been surprisingly taken well by the community. I mean, just look at the We Are Number One memes or the Nutshack memes. They're filling up the YouTube database with all these different videos of the little edits of every single one of them. Like the Nutshack, but every time they say the Nutshack, it's We Are Number One, but every time they say one, it's something. LazyTown memes have really skyrocketed in the community. I mean, if you just look at a We Are Number One video, you'll see in the description that there's a link to a GoFundMe page for Stefan Karl, who was the actor who played Robbie Rotten. And the fact that the people who were watching these memes were able to raise the money that he needed to fight and be treated for I think it was pancreatic cancer that he had, is downright astonishing. The things that people do for the people that they care about, even if they don't really know them, just because they like the things that they do, it's breathtaking. I mean, that's close to $75,000 that they raised for this one man who was notable for playing a children's TV character. That's beautiful. Next, we come to some of the bad memes of this year. Take, for example, Harambe. Now, I live in Ohio, but I have friends who came from Cincinnati. Yeah, it was Cincinnati. Those friends, time and time again, would tell me about their experiences in Cincinnati, and Harambe, being a gorilla from the Cincinnati Zoo, and who died in the Cincinnati Zoo, I can tell you that they were not very happy with what was happening to their beautiful city. How it was becoming such a terrible place to remember because of the fact that this gorilla died there. Now, it's just a gorilla. You can go out in the wild and you can see so many more dead gorillas if you wanted to. Of course, they don't have names, but they're still dying. But does anybody care about them? No. This one had a name. This one had a name. That's the only thing that was cool about him. His name was Harambe. That was the only part that was cool about him. Sure, he was a gorilla. Who cares if he was a gorilla? It's a gorilla. If you really want to see a dead gorilla, go out into the wild, go look at some poachers. They'll tell you about them stories that they have. I mean, I might be being a little unreasonable with this, but it's a gorilla. You don't have to go, dicks out for Harambe. I mean, it's just a gorilla. You don't have to worry about a dead gorilla that much. It's already dead. Why would people even vote for Harambe to be president? On the ballot, at least 10,000 people in America voted for Harambe as their vote, if that's any indication of how far this meme went. Memes went too far this year. Then there's Dat Boy, the literal cancer that has brought me to this stage that I'm at today of suicidal depression. Dat Boy is the worst meme that I have ever seen. Period. It's a frog on a unicycle. That's it. It's a frog on a unicycle. Why is it popular? I don't know. Why did it need to be popular? I don't know. Why? Why? That's the only question I have for this thing. Why is it a thing? I'm baffled by it. It's probably the worst thing of 2016 if I think about it, because I really didn't like it. It was that bad. Every time I saw it, I would just get like a passionate anger. And then one morning, a friend of mine sent to me several gifs of Dat Boy on his unicycle, and I downright had a hernia in my room because I was so flustered. It was an experience, to say the least, but it was a terrible experience. Damn Daniel. He wore shoes. It's just like that "what are those" meme. It's shoes. It doesn't matter. It's shoes. Who cares about shoes? I mean, maybe like you fashionista people, but nobody likes you. Just stop being who you are. I mean, be who you are, but don't be the you who cares so much about shoes that you like them more than a person. What really matters in this society is people sticking together and people staying with each other in times of need. You don't need to stick so close to your shoes. Next, I want to take this time to speak about a YouTuber who I have become very fond of in this past year. He was around for about 9 months, maybe more now, but his name was a strange one. It was Giva Sunner, or it was Siva Gunner. Both of them are the same, but that YouTuber took video game tracks and made them into the high-quality things that they are. Now, this was probably one of my high points of the year, watching every one of those videos, up until he died, and he came back, and he died again, and he came back. But now, he's doing a Christmas thing. It's almost over. Who knows what'll happen next? Maybe in the next year he'll just actually be dead. Nobody can say for sure, except for the person, not even for the person who runs the channel. I mean, there's like a huge group of people who have contributed to this channel, even greater now that they want the people watching their videos to help out with the video game tracks and rips. It's a great thing just to listen to all this work that has gone into this. It's beautiful. Of them, I can say that I have quite a few favorites. I'm thinking about compiling a playlist of all the different ones that I've come to like over the years. Might be a little hard because I can't even remember half of them, because, as I said, he's been around since late April, I think it was. And it's been a lot. It's like every day he uploads rips by the hour. So that's 24 rips every day, per usual. But there are days where he uploads every half hour, or every hour he uploads 6 rips, because that happened at one point. Or there could be a time where it could just come to be an hour and then he uploads 39 rips, which happened sometime in September. It was strange, and it was a lot of Undertale. Of his Undertale rips, he has uploaded over 160 at this point. Of them, I can say that, what's it called? Beta Mix, I think it is. I think it's Beta Mix. It's the Nyehehe theme, but there's this donking techno music to it. And I say donking because that's the word that they use. It's put a banging donk on it, so it's pretty good. Another one that's pretty good, which was only just uploaded the other day, was one that didn't even have a real name, because it was one of the songs that was in the files of Undertale and didn't actually appear in the game. It was a rip of the end of the genocide route, and there was Chara, or Kara, whatever you want to say. And the joke was based off of an anime, which has that same character's name in the title. And where am I going with this? It's a good rip, because it takes the sound of the jump scare, and it's like to the tune of the anime. And it's great. But then Kara dies because lore or something. So, yeah, it's a good channel. It's a great channel. Probably one of my favorite channels. Sad it died. Sad it came back to life and died. Sad it came back to life. It is gonna die again. Next up, let's talk about Homestuck. Now, there's a lot of Homestuck that has happened over the past few years. It's a 7-year-long journey to read it. It's a long, long-ass story. It's a great story, but it's wonderful, and I love it. Now, it ended this year, back in April, yeah, on the 13th, 4/13/2016. That was the day when Homestuck finally ended. We got the wonderful closing that was Act 7. Except it wasn't that wonderful, to be honest. It was actually animated. It turned Homestuck into the anime that everybody wanted. But it wasn't satisfying. It was an ending, but was it really the ending that the people wanted, was the question. Of course, we got the credit sequence back in October. It was a pretty good credit sequence. There was plenty of pictures, and then it started up the Homestuck official, well, not Homestuck official, MSPA official Snapchat, where for every once in a while they would do something in picture form, and then they had a little caption. It would be like the people talking to each other through the pictures. It was pretty cute. I liked it. Of course, I don't know how Snapchat works, so I ended up uninstalling it because I didn't know what to do and they hadn't done anything for a while. Of course, there is the whole Tumblr page dedicated to all of the posts that they did on Snapchat, so you can find all the archives in that if you wanted to. Now, Homestuck, I got into it about a month before it ended. I was talking to some friends, and they told me, hey, you should read Homestuck. I think you'd like it. So I did, and I did like it. It was boring at first. The first act, I didn't really understand what was going on. Second act, I was still a little confused. Third act, I started to get really into it. Fourth act, I was completely enthralled. And then that was the rest of it, because I finished it in like a week. I spent all of my nights staying up and reading it. And then I eventually caught up with the end of it, right before it ended. So I got up right to the last page that he was put in, and then I waited. I waited until 13th, and then there it was, the final... No, it was Act 6, Act 6, Act 6. And so that was pretty cool, seeing that. That was probably one of my favorite animations of the whole thing. Probably my favorite, though, was Game Over. Just like how I just liked it. It was good. Of course, that too became a meme in the Homestuck community. If you go on YouTube and search up S Game Over, but you'll find plenty of videos. What You Say overlaid over every death. That was a pretty good one. A lot of people died, which makes it such a good usage to be a meme, because all of those We Are Number One and what the fuck? We Are Number One and Nutcheck memes, they're all edits where every time something is said, something else happens. But every time something happens can also be used. Such as every time they take a step, a doot happens, and We Are Number One. So, every time something happens in Game Over, such as somebody dying, is the perfect example for a meme to come from that. Now, then there is the whole other popular things that happened this year. Now, I'm not too good with pop culture or anything, but I do know a couple things. There was the Rick and Morty dub of the court case that happened, the one in Kangaroo Court, as the culprit said. It was good. I loved it. I found myself cracking up to it on several occasions. Even going back to listen to it now, it's hysterical. And I'm not even that big of a Rick and Morty fan. It's just funny. I mean, maybe I'll get into the show at some point. I've been thinking about it. It looks funny. My friend, one of my friends says that it's pretty good. Of course, he's a bit of a douchebag, though, so I don't know what to think of that. What else happened this year? There was a lot of music. A lot of music came out this year. I'm not sure how to feel about music anymore. I just got into Vaporwave this year, even though it started to be a thing like a long time ago. But I like Vaporwave. Nobody makes Vaporwave music anymore, though. Except they do. As a meme. Even though it's a genre of music. But whatever. Of course, there's also trap music, which I don't know how to feel about, per se, because why is it called trap music? And why does it exist? Because it just feels like you're taking samples and you're remixing them into a song, which is just a song. Except there's a lot of clicks and a lot of taps, like, why would you want to listen to that? It's just taps and clicks. It's like, not even music. I mean, sure, it's music, it has a beat, it has a tune, but why? I don't understand. It's a lot of stuff was baffling to me this year. I don't know how to feel about a lot of things. There was a lot of things that I got, there was a lot of things that I didn't get. A lot more things that I didn't get than things that I got. Hive Swap comes out next month. That is going to be phenomenal. It has over 100,000 green lights on Steam, so that's probably going to happen. At least I think it's over 100,000. I can't be sure. Don't quote me on that. But next month, January 2017, we're going to finally have the Homestuck video game that was fabled to happen so long ago. The odd gentlemen who were going to make it, conniving bastards, took the money and put it into King's Quest, as I've heard. Now, I can't be too sure about that, and that's like second-hand to the 4th degree, because I've heard it from... Actually, I just heard it again from Fine Sauce Rev, who heard it from Tumblr, who sent it to him over email, who... It's a long story. But I watched his video on explaining Homestuck, if at all, which was very accurate to say the least. And yeah, I mean, I heard that something happened with the Odd Gentleman and Hive Swap, forcing them to take creation to a different company. But it's just strange finding out about it from so many different people, hearing it from so many different people. It's I don't know. I'm just glad that it's finally coming out, because I'm going to thoroughly enjoy that. It's going to be great. I don't know how much it's going to cost. I hope it's not too much, because it's just the first act. But maybe it'll be cheap enough for me. I've got $10 in my Steam wallet as of right now, so hopefully it'll be around there, if not exactly. Maybe like $17, that's what I'm predicting, $17.27. That would be a good price, $17. Nintendo NX comes out next year. I think it's next year. Summer next year, I think. It comes out next year, either way. It's revolutionary, I'd say. It's 2 screens again, but this time the controller separates from the second screen, and then you can have 2-player wherever you go. And it's completely portable, even though it's a home console. It's a portable home console. You don't even really need to worry about it. The only thing that, like, is the biggest issue for it would be the battery life, which I hope lasts long enough for people to get enjoyment out of it still, and not get salty when it runs out of battery. Because if it only has like 3 hours of battery life, that's not good hardware design. That's, sorry to say, but I would not be purchasing an NX if the battery life was that shit. Next, we have to talk about Splatoon. Turned a year old this year. The community for it is still booming after a year, and after they shut down their Splatfests. It's a beautiful game. I love it. I don't play it that much anymore, but I used to play it a lot. But I get tired of things quickly after they happen a lot, such as dying a lot in that game, which happened a lot. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at shooters. Never asked me to play a shooter. What else? The following year, 2017, will hopefully be better for us. That's all I can say. I mean, 2016 wasn't necessarily a bad year. A lot of good things happened this year, but a lot of terrible things happened this year. And hey, we hope to forget it in the following year. Let's talk politics for a second. Donald Trump. President Trump. He will officially be in office in January. But that's terrifying. Now, I don't support Trump or Hillary. I was more of a Bernie Sanders guy, but that didn't happen. So, don't bitch at me in the comments, please. But, sure, Hillary Clinton was a bad person, but Donald Trump is a bad person, too. Hillary Clinton, people say that what she's done with her emails, she should go to jail for. It's colleague emails. In a business place, when you work at an office, you're going to receive emails from your colleagues which are like, hey, could you make copies of article something something for me? Thanks, Patricia. And then you'd go and make copies for her and leave her on a desk. Now, is it really that bad to have that many emails just public when so many of them could just be that? I mean, sure, there were private documents involved in that, but yeah, I see why it's considered an illegal thing, but she's gotten a free pass for it. Why, you may ask? I don't know. Donald Trump said he was going to put Hillary Clinton in jail, but now that he's been elected, he said, oh no, that's fine, she's fine. He said a lot of things during his campaign, but now he's going back on everything that he said. Are we even going to have a wall? Probably not, because he said that's probably not going to happen. Are we going to ban all the Muslims? Probably not, because he said that's not going to happen. Are we going to make coming into the country any harder? Probably. But are we going to segregate the people of Mexico and the Muslim people? Who can say? It's a long 4 years ahead of us. 2020 is going to be a surprising year for all of us during that election. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows if we'll have the first gay president, the first lesbian president, the first female president. It's a long story ahead of us, and we have no idea what's going to happen. In 2020, I'm going to travel cross-country over the summer. It's going to be a blast. I'm going to spend 26, maybe longer hours traveling to the other side of the country just to see the sights and see some friends. So, that'll be plenty of fun. I'll run into some family on the way, maybe travel up to, I think it's North Dakota to see some of them, and travel to California to see some of them. My second cousins I haven't seen in a long time, but I'd love to see them again. They're pretty nice people. But that's all in the future. What we're looking back on now is the past, and the past was a strange time. Undertale also turned a year old last year. This year still. What am I saying? In 2016, Undertale turned a year old. The community, still terrible. I mean, there are some good things in it. Some of my best friends I made from being in the Undertale community. And it's a lovely game. If you haven't played it, play it. I don't know what else to say. I mean, you don't have to play it like everybody else plays it. You can play it your own way. My way, personally, kill everybody. It's fun. It's my favorite part about it. I'm a big guy for story. I love story in like video games or stories or anything. If you told me to write a story and you only expected 2 pages from me, I'm sorry, but I'd give you a lot more than 2 pages, probably 13 at least, which happened this year. Now, the story in Undertale is great. People have talked about it many a time, but it's a year later, another year older. It's still a game. And that's all I can really say about it. Toby Fox also worked on Homestuck. If kind of you uncultured people don't know. And the music that he did for that, and the stuff that he did for that, it's beautiful work, locked up in Andrew Hussey's basement. And then he came up with the idea for Undertale there, so it's pretty wonderful. Favorite part of Homestuck, you might ask? In general, The Baby Is You, a great rock opera. Go listen to it sometime. It's phenomenal. Let's see. 2016, the year I made friends who were not binary. I have a friend whom is transgender, but also gay. So I don't really understand it that well, but from what I have drawn from it, they are the opposite gender as what they originally were, but they are also gay, so they like the same gender that they liked beforehand, or that they would like regularly. It's odd. I really don't understand it, but some people do, and I wish not to be judged for the things that I say on people because I fully support these people. I have, on time and time again, wanted to help these people in their time of need. Specifically that friend whom I just talked about. He's a wonderful guy. He's probably one of my closest friends, to be honest. One of my best friends that I've ever had. He's a great person, and I'm glad to have become friends with him this year. Speaking of friends, one of my closest friends that I've ever had moved away to India this year in the summer. She was here for about a year, and then she's going to India for about a year. Then she'll come back, I hope, because she was like a sister to me. I loved her like a sister, and she was a great person. She was one of the smartest people I knew. She was one of the most creative people I knew. One of the most artistic. One of the most musically artistic persons that I've ever known. And I miss her a lot. It's every day. I remember the times that we shared in that past year in 2015. It was great. So hopefully next year she'll come back like she said she would, but who's to say for sure. I talk to her on occasion. It's not every day, but it's something. I just talked to her the other day, back on Christmas, and we shared a laugh, shared a couple memories. It was nice. To move away from the sad parts of 2016, let's talk about something good that happened. There was, now me being from Ohio, you can understand how ecstatic I was when I found out that the Cavs won and broke the streak of losses for Cleveland. It's been a long time since we won a World Series, so it was pretty amazing. So the Cavaliers winning a game was fantastic. People celebrated out in the streets in the middle of the night and had to be cold by the people, the police. Not cold per se, I mean like controlled, because they were a little hectic in Cleveland. And all over Ohio, people were happy. I mean, like Matthew Patrick, the guy from Medina, that was his hometown. He was probably happy about it for Ohio. I'm sure a lot of other people from Ohio were happy. I mean, a lot of famous people are from Ohio. But, I mean, there's like Cincinnati, all of these places, people were so happy. In Strongsville, Akron, Ashland, all of these places, people were happy. Now, our football team, the Browns, I can't say the same for them. We went basically the whole season without winning a single football game. I'm not a big sports guy, but I know some things about it. We went basically the whole season without winning a single game, and then over this Christmas time, they finally won a game. I remember reading a tweet from one of my friends saying, 2 Star Wars movies have come out since the Browns have won a football game. Which is not good. But they won. It's a Christmas miracle. If you believe in miracles. Yeah. What else to say? Let's get personal again. I've made a lot of new friends this past year, and it's been a wonderful time spent with them. I hope we can become closer in the next couple years, that we spend time together. It'll be fun. Hopefully. There are a lot of people who I would like to spend more time with than I have. There are a lot of people who, in general, I feel that I haven't been myself around. Being the person that I am, I, as a Gemini, fully am aware of what the Gemini people demonstrate, because it's said that a Gemini is a two-sided person. They have a nice side and they have a not-so-nice side. Me, on the other hand, I'm like a Gemini who has been split several times. I speak to one of my friends in a way that keeps me from spreading foul language. Then I speak to another friend who I am the downright dirtiest mouth in the room. I'm not happy about it. I hate myself for it because every time I try to talk to somebody, I need to get a read on their personality so I can adjust myself accordingly. Because I don't know who myself is at this point. I try to be as natural as I can be, but it just turns out terribly. There are so many different filters that I have to go through in order to talk to somebody now. I need to think before I say anything. Even if it's just a remark, a quip. It's not fun. Sure, it has its upsides. I can be friends with just about anybody as long as I know what their personality is. But it's not fun for me. I can't be myself anymore because after the long years of spending time with these people, they know me for who I've acted as and not for whom I actually am. That's not to say that I'm a terrible person inside, but it's to say that the guy that they know me as is not the same guy that another person knows me as. It's like an identity crisis. There's several different versions of me running around in my head, telling me what to do, but I never know which one to listen to, because there's just too many. I'd be happy if I could be myself, but who even is myself? "2016. It's been a long ride. It's almost over now, so we don't have to worry that much anymore. It's been fun. We've shared laughs, we've shared tears, and now 2017. Who knows what'll happen? We've got a long road in front of us. At least for America and the rest of the world. I hope to God, I pray, which is something I don't do, that things will turn out okay. I am not prepared for what this year will bring. I wasn't prepared for what this last year would bring. But now, we're in this for the long haul. Every one of us. We need to work together. We need to stick together as people. And we need to face the music and agree upon something. We can't spend our lives as a society in disagreements. That's what war is. We can't do this for the rest of our lives. We need to, as a people, come together and agree. We need diplomacy. We don't need genocide. I mean, sure, a lot of terrible stuff has happened with ISIS and all of those other radical groups. And then there's Aleppo, which was it was pretty sad. I'm not going to go into detail about it here. I didn't know all too much about it. I was basically the commons man, Gary Johnson. I had no idea what Aleppo was for a while, and then I found out about it and I was grief-stricken. I felt terrible that I didn't know that this was happening. And I read into it more and more, and it was I don't know. Um, 2016. It was a long year. I'm sorry for getting so deep in this video, but it had to happen. I needed to talk about this in some way to somebody, even if it's just 35 different people. Which, by the way, is astounding to me. When I started this channel, I was just doing it for jokes, shits and giggles, per se. And now that I've come, quote-unquote, far with it, I'm angered, I think. I think that's the word for it. Because I never wanted a, quote-unquote, following. Sure, it's not that many people. 35 people you can fit into a room. But it's still 35 people. And that's 35 people who have devoted a place on their subscription feed for me. Which I'm a little surprised at. Why would you? It's not a good channel. My content is terrible. The only thing that's actually good, I would say, is that dumb YouTube Rewind video that I made, which is currently surpassed 3,000, 2,000? 3,000. Something thousand views. Now, that's a lot of views for a guy like me. I never knew that I could reach this point. It's surprising, to say the least. I didn't expect it. I thought that it was just trashy content. But apparently the rest of YouTube thought otherwise, because now there are videos of YouTube Rewind 2016, but something else happens. Now, keep in mind, which some of you might not have realized, I released that video just hours after the original. All the other ones you'll find on YouTube were released about a day or two afterwards. I was the first to do it, and I don't receive the credit for it. I'm fine with that. I don't want the credit for it. But now that so many other people are getting millions of views for it, I feel left out, which happens many a time. I feel left out a lot of times. I'm an introverted person, and whenever I get into conversation with somebody, I'll want to leave the conversation. Just talking to myself like this, to my screen, and speaking for as long as I have, has been good for me. It's nice to be able to just talk and not have to worry about what you're saying. That's wonderful. My throat is killing me, so I'm gonna have to take a break soon, because I've woken up just an hour ago. It's 1 p.m. currently. I woke up an hour ago. I haven't had anything to eat. I haven't had anything to drink. I'm starving. I'm thirsty. I'm still tired. But yeah, 2016. It's been an experience. It's been a long ride, a long and bumpy ride. I rode my first roller coaster this year. Rode my first several roller coasters. I think 7 to be exact. I've ridden a roller coaster a total of 7 times, and I refuse to ever ride one again because I nearly died. It's a long story, but I'll proceed to tell it if you're interested. If anybody's interested, even. I was in Cincinnati with the friends whom I talked about earlier, who are from Cincinnati. They led me down there, and they took me to... what's it called? What's the place? Kings Island. It's a nice place. It's got plenty of nice attractions, plenty of nice little corner stores. Fantastic place to go if you like roller coasters. I, on the other hand, am not that big into them. I rode a couple at Cedar Point, in up in the Cleveland area. It was terrifying. I'm not a good guy when it comes to heights. I get, like, terribly frightened because of it, and I refuse to keep my eyes open on roller coasters because of it. So, in Kings Island, I was riding this one roller coaster. Can't remember what it was called. I think it was Bat or something. And it was looser, apparently, from what it usually was, according to my friends. And I could tell it was looser because the swinging sensation that you're supposed to feel on it was multiplied. And I did not feel okay. I did not feel safe. I was riding it, and the swinging basically turned me to my side, left and right, for a long time. Now, that might not seem to such a big deal to some people who like their roller coasters, but to me, that was terrifying. And we got to the end of it, and I clutched at my heart because I could feel it stopping. I almost died on that roller coaster because I have an issue with sodium, and I have too much of it in my blood. And because of that, I have heart problems, I guess. So, roller coasters, I can't ride anymore. But I got off the roller coaster in shock, and I didn't know what was happening. I blacked out on the roller coaster and woke up at the end of it, and my heart did not feel okay. It's painful. It's not fun. I want to ride roller coasters, but they scare me, not because of the impending doom that might come if one were to reach a technical difficulty, but because of the problems in my body. I wish that I could stop eating so much sodium, but it's an addiction. It's not good. My life expectancy, I don't expect it to last that long because of it. But we'll see what happens. I need a drink, so I'll wrap this up soon. Maybe I'll get a drink and come back. I don't know how to do this, but take a quick recess. Alright. I'm better now. Let's talk for a minute or two longer, and let's discuss some of the things that happened to me during this year. This year I got to meet up with my cousins again. It was a fun time this Christmas season. I got to share some Jewish traditions with that part of the family, and I got to share my Christian traditions with the rest of them. It was fun. Ran around the house, and we just sorta had fun. Like, that year gap between seeing everybody didn't happen. I mean, we got Italian cuisine at one of the restaurants in town, and we just sort of talked and ate and shared some memories of the past year. And talked about memes at my side of the table. One of my cousins didn't even realize what a meme was, nor me. Not to be rude or anything. So, it was fun explaining memes to her. I can't remember if it was this year or the last year, but there was a family reunion held for a branch of my family, which came with the last name Wisniewski. Now, I expected to see people there who had the last name Wisniewski, but I didn't see them. They were just other Wisniewski people. I did, however, run into my second cousin, and she is a fun person to be around. There's an energy about her which just she exudes, and you get as energetic as she is. And we ended up running around the place where we were having the reunion. It was outside. It was one of those little picnic areas, but it was large. There was like a kitchen in the back of it, and it had walls. My voice is cracking a lot. Sorry. But yeah, we just sort of ran around. We had fun. It'd be nice to see them again. I don't really see them a lot. They are only second cousins, and I think once removed, actually. It's a strange family tree, mine is. So strange that we have, on the other side of my family, we have history all around the world. Now, I'm a Spanish guy. I come of Spanish descent. And this year was the first year when I didn't get to see any family from that side of my family. It was a little sad, but I got to talk to them still. My grandmother in New York, she is doing good. Just had her birthday a couple days ago. I think it was... She's getting up there. It's like 60, 70. Somewhere around there. What else happened? Oh yeah. I have that friend who I was talking about earlier, the one who is trans and gay. They were, I think they still are, suicidal. And I had to help them in their time of need. There was a time just 2 months ago when I was on my phone and I noticed something bad. I was in several group chats with her, and, well, I mean, she hadn't come out as trans at the time. I think she had. I can't remember. It's been a long year. He had removed himself from all of these chat rooms, all of these group chats, and I thought something was odd. And then I noticed that he had changed his profile to a name which scared me. It was "I'm sorry," and the picture was that of just a note reading, "I'm sorry," and I didn't know what was happening, so I texted him. I wanted to find out what was going on. Eventually he replied, and we talked for a little while, and he told me he was planning on killing himself that night. I was... oh boy. I was worried for them. I called the suicide hotline for the first time in my life and tried to get some help for him. And eventually I did. Not particularly from my help, but I was one of the reasons, because the next day he was at school and I was so happy. But then he left school around first period and he talked to his parents about what he had been feeling, and he finally came clean about it, and I was a little worried for him because I didn't know what happened, but he was out of school for about 2 weeks during the time when he was getting assistance. He was at a facility, which was pretty nice. He made a few friends there, which he forgot to get their phone numbers, so rip. But he made friends. He felt better. I guess they put him on some kind of medication, because he didn't seem himself the next time when he came to school. He's back in the groove now. It's good to have him back. It's good that he's still around. He's got a long life ahead of him, and I hope he doesn't tarnish it. Speaking of him, however, he's... not to say anything bad, but he's had a little bit of a drinking problem. Now, I guess it's okay, but because I haven't heard like he's been drinking at all or anything, but I hate the taste of alcohol. I tried it once back when I was 8, I think, and I spat it out immediately because I felt like I was going to throw up. It was horrific. I hated it. I hated every second of it. And so then, just this past couple of weeks, I think it was, I was given wine at a restaurant. I was like, oh, okay, I'll try this. And I did. And it tasted like somebody took grapes and they turned them through a roadkill squirrel's stomach to ferment them. It tasted terrible. And then I threw up. So, yeah, abstinence in several places for me, thanks. Abstinence from drinking, abstinence from smoking, abstinence from any type of drug. 2016, year when I got my new computer. Thank God, because the laptop that I've been using for the past 4 years is decrepit. It's dying. It's breaking at the seams. Everything is wrong with it. There are keys missing from the keyboard. The screen has several dead pixels to on it. It's not my fault that it's broken. It just wasn't meant to last 4 years. It was meant to last 2 years. I've been surprisingly keeping it well furbished. The only problem that I caused was the battery life completely draining, so it has to rest on my desk plugged in the whole time. So, pretty happy that I've got this new computer. It's a nice present I received for Christmas. Speaking of presents that I received for Christmas, I received a book on ACT testing. Now, you might be wondering, why do you need to do the ACT testing? Because I am enrolled in high school, and the ACT testing book that I have is to practice, because I need to take the ACT test during spring. If I want to get into the classes that I want to be in the following year, I need to pass the ACT, which shouldn't be too hard of anything. The only thing that I need to worry about in my high school career is the testing, the SAT and the ACT. So it's gonna be something. I'm going to practice a lot of it. Now, what else? 2016, the year where I first felt like I cared for somebody else the same way that I care for myself when I did. 2016 was the year when I fell in love, per se. It ended sourly, to say the least, but it ended happily. I felt closure from it. It was an experience. It was the first experience that I had, and that's pretty much all I can say about it. We ended on good terms. We're still very close friends. And now I've moved on to newer things. Now, I don't know if she'll watch this video, with it being as long as it is, but perhaps she will, and if she does, just want you to know, you're still not forgiven for the roller coaster thing. And if any of my other colleagues watch this video, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and God rest your souls if you wish to take them. That's pretty much all there is to say. It's been a nice year, but it's been a bad year. It's been fun, and it's been not so fun. Hopefully 2017 will be more on the fun side. Adios.